has been suggested that the act of acceptance allows the individual to transcend the suffering self, and that suffering is inevitable as part of leading an authentic life. So let's take a look at what that means, because we've spoken about mentor, tormentor, your beliefs, your interpretations of things, your perception of things. That all adds up to the actions and your beliefs and behaviors, and it ends up working either for you or against you. And as I've said, nearly all the clients that come in to see me will suggest that certainly they're in a state of self-sabotage. Are they living meaningfully, or are they living intensely? I would ask you to ask yourself the same question. So I have an exercise that is one in which we can understand the dilemma. And so I call it the family belief system versus the personal belief system. One is looking at the egocentric type of beliefs that we inherit from family or culture, etc., up until usually about the age of 6 years of age. And the other is the more experienced, the more mature aspect of us, those lessons that we've learned during the course of our lives, no matter how old we are. So we have to look at what transpires here, how do we operate, and often we'll operate differently to ourselves than people we love or are close to. We'll often operate with a system that is loving and kind and gentle and compassionate to other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we can be pretty harsh. We can also look at how to do that. How do I operate that with a client? So I'm going to show you a little bit of an exercise right now, just based on a very few words, and when you consider how many words impact us, you will see what I'm getting at here. So we have to look at how do we move from superficiality to authenticity. We're going to be getting into that over the other lectures as well. It requires honesty, open-mindedness and willingness, so you can use the acronym HOW for that, and that helps us lead or move towards awareness, to understanding and choices. And again, we're going to get further into that. But right now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you an image, a picture of a board that I've used, just an example that I actually used with clients on how to look at the family belief system, how to look at the personal belief system, and notice the differences. So as we look at this, you'll see I've written at the top some words that are just about love, trust, choice, respect, anger, friendship, money, alcohol, and drugs. On the left-hand side, the family belief system. On the right-hand side, the personal belief system. This was done by a client. So if you look on the family belief system, in other words, the inherited belief system, you can see that love meant sex and food, that there was no trust. They never knew choice, that respect was demanded of father, that anger, it was more like rage and controls, and they didn't have friends. When it came to money and alcohol and drugs, obviously there was a reason that person was here. So they didn't get into detail about that other than to say it was in the family system and it was accepted. Now, when we look at the personal belief system on the right-hand side, you can see the difference. When the person said, well, what I believe love is it needs time, support, and trust comes from acceptance, healthy touch, and choice, and being consistent, being honest, being assertive, providing options, information, and consequences. Respect comes from that, as well as listening and boundaries, that we have healthy expression, and friendship is the same as love, etc., etc. Healthy expression of anger, that was, by the way. And so you look at what happens. If you look underneath a family belief system, you see that it's conditional. The loving is conditional, or the demands, they're conditional upon you fitting in a certain way. So if you look at black and whiteness, that's pretty black. If you look at the ego state that will come from that, it's a frozen ego, and it makes one reactive. On the other hand, the personal belief system, you can see that love is unconditional. So it's the opposite, that would be white. And a person ends up responding rather than reacting. So that's just one example of what that can mean. So we come back to what can we do about that. We talked about, therefore, it can lead to awareness, understanding, and choices. Therefore, it can also contaminate or illuminate. That's what we can do for other people, and that's what has happened to us. We're either contaminated to some degree or got toxic thoughts or beliefs, or we're illuminated and we have healthy self-confidence. So the impacts of our governing beliefs are based on what you've seen on that chart. And so with that example, I would urge you to maybe write one down, or you can take a look in the book. You will see I've put a listing down there as well of what that would look like. So you have to ask yourself, what beliefs and operating system do you actually live by? Because most people live by the personal one when it comes to their loved ones, but when it comes to themselves, they usually resort back to the one that they grew up with. And that creates the paradox that we know one thing, but we do another. And after all, the goal in the end is to come to a place of healthy congruency and integrity. So I'm going to just read out one other thing here as well for you. I just want you to understand again some of the concepts here. If we look at the determination of 4 intrinsic rewards, they are having a sense of meaning and purpose, a sense of choice, a sense of competence, and a sense of progress. Our observation, awareness, and self-questioning can allow us to feel fulfilled in each of these 4 areas. Desire, when you discover your mission, you'll feel its demand. It will fill you with enthusiasm and a burning desire to get to work on it. Discipline. Discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishment. Determination. The price of success is hard work. Dedication to the job at hand and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. One factor that provides optimism and optimal joy and is to constantly be fascinated. Be in awe of the world around you, the people, places, potential, and the limitless palace of possibilities. Be present and in the quantum and notice the differences in your experience of daily interactions and activities when you gaze through a lens of fascination. This is especially true when you are learning something new and feel any doubts about your ability or compare yourselves to others with more experience or knowledge on any given subject.